Embracing the power of silence, a Stoic perspective. In today's noisy, fast-paced world, the art of silence often feels like a lost skill. But what if the moments we choose not to speak could be just as impactful as the times we do? How often do we pause to consider the significance of our silence? Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, provides a framework for mastering self-control through reason and emotional resilience. It teaches us when to speak, and perhaps more importantly, when not to. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, aptly remarked, "It is better to trip with the feet than with the tongue." This wisdom prompts us to reflect, how often have we regretted words spoken hastily or in anger? Far from discouraging expression, Stoicism encourages us to see silence as a powerful tool for growth and inner peace. Imagine navigating life's challenges with the calm assurance that silence can sometimes say more than words ever could. To a Stoic, silence isn't merely the absence of speech but a deliberate, meaningful choice, a force that can de-escalate conflicts, shield us from harm, and deepen our understanding of ourselves and others. But when is silence most effective? Let's explore 9 key moments where choosing silence is not only wise but transformative. As we delve into these principles, consider how practicing Stoic silence could reshape your interactions and enhance your sense of peace. What if you could diffuse a heated argument with composed silence? Or convey your thoughts more profoundly through a reflective pause? Let's uncover the wisdom of Stoicism and discover how silence can be one of our greatest strengths. 1. When facing unfair criticism. Unfair criticism is inevitable in life, but it need not be detrimental. Instead, it can serve as a transformative tool for developing resilience, self-awareness, and character. Marcus Aurelius insightfully remarked, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." His words remind us that our emotional response to criticism stems not from the critique itself but from the value we assign to it. Recognizing this truth is the first step toward liberation from its sting. When faced with criticism, resist the urge to react defensively or emotionally. Instead, take a step back and assess the feedback rationally. Does it highlight a genuine area for improvement? If so, treat it as an opportunity for growth. However, if the critique is baseless or motivated by malice, let it roll off like water on a stone. For instance, if a manager disparages your work without justification, focus on honing your skills and delivering results that speak louder than words. By controlling your perception, you shield your inner peace from external negativity. Epictetus, another Stoic luminary, emphasized action over words. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. This principle encourages responding to criticism not with arguments or justifications but through your actions and the quality of your work. Demonstrate resilience by remaining composed and focused on what truly matters, your integrity and progress. By choosing not to engage in petty disputes, you transform unfair criticism into a platform for showcasing strength, discipline, and grace, turning adversity into a catalyst for excellence. 2. In the presence of boastfulness. Few things are as trying to one's patience as encountering boastfulness. Whether at a meeting, a social gathering, or online, boasting can spark the temptation to engage in a subtle, or not so subtle, competition. Imagine a peer incessantly highlighting their accomplishments during a team discussion. It's natural to feel an impulse to respond with your own achievements. However, Stoicism offers a wiser approach: restraint. Choosing to remain silent in the face of boasting is not a sign of weakness but of self-assuredness. Restraint allows you to rise above the fray, demonstrating confidence in your worth without needing validation from others. By listening rather than competing, you create a space where others can see the futility of superficial pride. Your composed demeanor subtly commands respect and can shift the conversation toward more meaningful topics. This approach often leaves a deeper, more positive impression than trying to win the exchange. Moreover, the ability to endure and even embrace silence reflects inner security. Stoics teach that true strength lies in valuing your actions over recognition. Your accomplishments speak for themselves and do not require embellishment. By embodying humility in avoiding one-upmanship, you demonstrate wisdom and maturity. This not only preserves your peace but may inspire others to adopt a more balanced perspective on their own success. Over time, you'll find that genuine confidence is contagious, and your quiet self-assurance can elevate interactions from competition to connection. 3. In moments of anger. Anger is a powerful and often destructive emotion that clouds judgment and fuels conflict. It can erupt suddenly, leaving us to regret hasty words or actions. Stoicism offers an antidote: pause, reflect, and, above all, embrace silence. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely counseled, keep silence for the most part, or say only what is necessary and in a few words. This guidance reminds us that silence is not passivity, it is a conscious choice to refrain from actions that could worsen the situation. Imagine a scenario at work where a colleague's oversight causes you to miss a critical deadline or increases your workload. The natural reaction might be to vent your frustration, perhaps through sharp words or blame. However, such an outburst, while momentarily satisfying, often escalates the issue and strains professional relationships. Instead, taking a moment to pause and reflect can yield a far better outcome. Marcus Aurelius, a master of self-control, observed, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it." This insight reveals the potential harm of unchecked anger, not just to others but to ourselves. Silence in moments of anger serves multiple purposes. First, it prevents you from saying or doing something you might later regret. Second, it allows you the time to regain composure and assess the situation rationally. What triggered your anger? Is it something within your control, or is it rooted in external circumstances? By redirecting your focus to what you can control, your thoughts and actions, you align with the core Stoic principle of accepting external events while mastering your internal response. Furthermore, silence can strengthen relationships. When you respond to provocation with calmness rather than fury, you demonstrate emotional intelligence and maturity. Over time, this approach earns the respect and trust of those around you, reinforcing your reputation as a level-headed individual. By practicing silence in moments of anger, you transform volatile situations into opportunities for growth and harmony. 4. When confronted with rumors. Rumors, whether about us or others, can be deeply unsettling. They spread quickly, fueled by speculation and often devoid of truth. When faced with rumors, the Stoic response is one of restraint and self-control. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This timeless advice emphasizes that we cannot stop people from gossiping, but we can control how we respond. Engaging with rumors, whether by confronting the source or defending yourself, often gives them more weight than they deserve. Stoicism teaches us to rise above such distractions, focusing instead on our actions and character. Consider a scenario in which a workplace rumor casts doubt on your abilities or intentions. Reacting defensively might suggest guilt or insecurity, while ignoring the gossip shows confidence and poise. Over time, truth has a way of surfacing, and your consistent behavior will dispel any falsehoods more effectively than words ever could. A Stoic approach to rumors involves cultivating quiet confidence. This does not mean passive acceptance but rather an active choice to prioritize what truly matters: your integrity, your values, and your goals. By refusing to dignify gossip with a reaction, you protect your peace of mind and maintain focus on your purpose. Marcus Aurelius encouraged this mindset when he wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Let your actions speak louder than any rumor." In the larger context, this approach reflects a deep understanding of the transient nature of opinions. Today's gossip is tomorrow's forgotten anecdote. By staying grounded and refusing to be swayed by fleeting judgments, you embody the Stoic ideal of resilience and clarity. 5. In the face of loss. Loss is one of life's most profound challenges, touching everyone at some point. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, an opportunity, or a cherished possession, the pain can be overwhelming. In such moments, silence becomes not just a tool but a sanctuary, a space for reflection, acceptance, and healing. Seneca, reflecting on mortality, wrote, "The day which we fear as our last is but the birthday of eternity." This perspective invites us to see loss not as an end but as part of the natural cycle of existence. When confronted with loss, many people instinctively seek distractions to numb their grief. While this may provide temporary relief, it often delays the process of healing. Stoicism, however, encourages us to face loss head-on, using silence to explore our emotions and the meaning behind them. This practice is not about suppressing grief but about understanding it. What does this loss teach us about the impermanence of life? How can we find strength in the face of adversity? Silence also allows us to reconnect with our inner resilience. It is a time to reflect on the values and lessons the lost person or thing brought into our lives. Instead of focusing solely on what is gone, we can shift our perspective to what remains, our ability to grow, adapt, and carry forward the essence of what we cherished. Ultimately, silence in the face of loss is an act of courage. It requires us to confront our pain without distraction, finding strength in vulnerability and wisdom in sorrow. This process, while challenging, leads to a deeper appreciation of life and a renewed commitment to living with purpose and gratitude. Through silence, we transform loss from an ending into a beginning, a source of insight and growth. 6. When encountering ignorance. Ignorance can manifest in many forms: uninformed opinions, willful misunderstanding, or outright denial of facts. It often tempts us to engage in debate, to set the record straight, or to prove our own understanding. However, Stoicism suggests that silence can be the wisest response. As Marcus Aurelius advised, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. This implies that rising above ignorance, rather than being drawn into its sphere, is the ultimate act of wisdom and dignity. Consider the example of Galileo Galilei, whose groundbreaking discoveries about the cosmos were met with staunch opposition and condemnation by the authorities of his time. Instead of futilely arguing against entrenched ignorance, Galileo let his work and ideas endure beyond the controversies of his era. His silence was not a concession but a reflection of his understanding that truth does not require constant defense, it simply endures. When faced with ignorance in your own life, be it an uninformed critique, a prejudiced remark, or a stubborn refusal to acknowledge facts, responding with silence can be an act of grace. It shows confidence in your knowledge and a refusal to expend energy on fruitless arguments. Engaging with ignorance often does little to enlighten the other person and can instead entangle you in frustration. By choosing not to argue, you preserve your peace and signal that not every provocation is worth your attention. However, Stoic silence does not imply passivity or indifference. It is a deliberate choice to focus your efforts where they matter most, on meaningful actions and productive conversations. Ignorance, after all, is not your burden to bear. By maintaining composure and allowing your deeds to demonstrate your principles, you embody the Stoic ideal of patience and self-assurance. 7. When injustice strikes. Injustice is one of the greatest tests of character. It can provoke feelings of anger, resentment, and a desire for immediate retaliation. Yet Stoicism teaches that true strength lies in measured, purposeful action rather than impulsive reactions. Nelson Mandela's life serves as a powerful example of this principle. During his 27 years of imprisonment, Mandela endured profound injustice but chose silence as a tool for preparation and reflection, emerging as a symbol of unity and forgiveness rather than bitterness. Stoics view silence in the face of injustice not as a sign of weakness or acquiescence but as a means of gathering strength for meaningful action. Marcus Aurelius's writings remind us of the importance of focusing on what we can control, even in the most challenging circumstances. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Silence in moments of injustice allows you to pause, assess the situation, and determine the most effective way to respond. Take, for example, an unfair situation at work where you are overlooked for a promotion due to bias. While it might feel satisfying to immediately voice your discontent, strategic silence can allow you to approach the issue with clarity. It provides time to gather evidence, build alliances, and present your case from a position of strength rather than emotion. This approach not only protects your dignity but also increases the likelihood of achieving a just resolution. Moreover, silence offers space for reflection, helping you channel your emotions into constructive solutions. As Mandela demonstrated, forgiveness and unity are often more powerful responses to injustice than anger or retribution. Silence does not mean ignoring the problem, it means refusing to let the injustice define or consume you. Instead, you harness your inner resilience and focus your energy on creating positive change. Injustice challenges us to embody the highest Stoic virtues: courage, wisdom, and self-control. By practicing silence and restraint, you position yourself to act not out of vengeance but from a place of strength and integrity, transforming adversity into an opportunity for growth and meaningful impact. 8. When insulted. Insults are an unfortunate yet inevitable part of human interaction. They can come from a variety of sources: family members, co-workers, friends, or even strangers, and they can strike at our sense of self-worth, sometimes leaving lasting emotional marks. The sting of an insult is often not just the words themselves but how deeply they touch on our vulnerabilities. Our immediate impulse is to defend ourselves, retaliate, or set the record straight. However, Stoicism offers us a different path, a path of silence and reflection. Epictetus, the ancient Stoic philosopher, taught that our emotional responses are not triggered by external events but by the way we perceive those events. He wisely stated, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." This statement reminds us that while insults may be difficult to hear, they only have the power to affect us if we allow them to. The key to maintaining peace in the face of insults lies in controlling our own response, something that Stoicism emphasizes repeatedly. It is not the insult itself that causes our anger or hurt, but our mind's reaction to it. If we train ourselves to remain detached from these emotional provocations, we can maintain our composure. When an insult is hurled our way, the immediate temptation might be to respond in kind, whether through a sharp retort, an emotional outburst, or even physical action. Such responses, however, tend to escalate the situation, often leaving us feeling regretful afterward. The Stoic approach is to refrain from this knee-jerk reaction and instead embrace silence. By doing so, we demonstrate that we are not easily rattled by petty provocations and that we refuse to engage in unnecessary conflict. Silence gives us the space to process the situation, to reflect on the insult, and to decide whether it is worth responding to at all. A powerful example of this Stoic practice can be seen in the life of Mahatma Gandhi, who faced numerous insults and slanders throughout his journey for Indian independence. Gandhi was often mocked and criticized by both the British colonialists and even his own countrymen. Yet, he remained steadfast in his commitment to peace, dignity, and non-violence. Gandhi's response to these insults was not to lash out in anger but to maintain a composure and silence that often disarmed his critics. In doing so, he showed that insults and provocation had no power over him unless he allowed them to. His refusal to engage in verbal sparring demonstrated his unwavering dedication to higher principles, which ultimately allowed him to lead millions toward freedom and peace. Gandhi's approach to insults is an example of how Stoic silence can elevate us above petty conflicts and strengthen our character. By choosing to maintain composure, we signal that the opinions of others, especially those delivered with hostility or malice, do not define us. This emotional detachment allows us to stay focused on our true values and goals, ensuring that our actions align with our principles rather than being dictated by temporary emotions. In this way, silence becomes an expression of inner strength, a refusal to be drawn into the trivialities of others' judgments. Moreover, by practicing silence in the face of insult, we preserve our emotional energy and focus on more constructive pursuits. Retaliation only breeds more conflict, while silence offers the possibility of personal growth. As we grow more practiced in this response, we become less affected by others' words and more able to focus on our own actions. In doing so, we not only protect our peace but also cultivate wisdom and resilience. In the long run, silence in the face of insult teaches us an essential Stoic lesson: we cannot control what others say or do, but we can always control our response. By exercising self-control and avoiding the temptation to react, we build a strong foundation of integrity that helps us navigate the world with dignity and composure. 9. During moments of reflection. In our fast-paced world, the ability to step back and reflect can seem like a luxury, if not a necessity. Between the demands of work, social obligations, and the constant noise of modern life, moments of silence are increasingly rare. Yet, Stoicism teaches us that silence is not only important but essential for developing self-awareness and living a virtuous life. It provides the space to pause, assess our actions, and realign ourselves with our deepest values. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, understood the transformative power of reflection. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This statement is a call to action, urging us to move beyond theoretical discussions and instead focus on embodying the virtues we admire. Reflection is the tool we use to ensure that our actions reflect our principles. Silence, in this context, allows us to step away from the noise of the world and listen to our inner voice, which is often drowned out by the distractions of daily life. In times of quiet reflection, we are able to assess how closely our behaviors align with our values. It is in these moments of stillness that we can identify where we have strayed from our principles and where we can improve. For example, after a difficult day at work, taking a few minutes of silence to reflect on your actions, whether you reacted in anger, handled a challenge with grace, or made a decision that reflected your integrity, can help you process your emotions and make adjustments for the future. This act of reflection fosters mindfulness and self-awareness, two essential components of Stoic practice. Yet, in a world that demands constant action, silence for reflection is often overlooked. We may feel pressure to be constantly productive, to be always on the go, and to keep our minds occupied with external tasks. However, Stoicism teaches us that true progress comes not from constant doing but from regular moments of thoughtful introspection. In these quiet moments, we can connect with our higher self, reconsider our goals, and determine if we are living according to our values. This is not about self-criticism or obsessing over past mistakes, but about cultivating the clarity to live with purpose. For instance, many people, when facing a challenge or a difficult decision, are so overwhelmed by the noise of external pressures that they cannot hear their own inner wisdom. In these moments, silence can provide the much-needed space for insight. A few moments of quiet can allow us to distance ourselves from the immediacy of a problem and see it from a broader, more rational